Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry, and with me this week is a very special guest, who I'm trying to blind, but he's not giving me his glass. Flying colors already, buddy. It's Chad from My Daily Bourbon. Chad, how are you, man?
Man, I am fantastic.
I am so happy that you finally made it onto the show. We've been working on this for a little while.
Yes, and every week something's popped up, but here we are.
Something normally does just pop up.
Yeah. But we're here now, Perry. That's all that matters.
Give me your glass. I'll give you the last of this. Well,
if I curse under my breath, I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. Just let him fly. So, if you're new to the show, if you're here for the very first time, thank you so much. Please go ahead and subscribe. Check out all of our merchandise and apparel at bourbonshop.threadless.com and become a supporter of the show at patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. For as little as $1 a month, $5 a month gets you some bonus content, including the pregame chats and the last call, as well as early access to YouTube videos, which is a new thing that I just started. I don't even know if you know about that.
I do. I seen you post on your story. You have your first.
Oh yeah, I did. I did post about
your
that.
first produced video coming out.
So this is coming. This episode itself is coming out the week after that YouTube video is dropping. So I don't know how it's going to actually perform just yet, but I don't know. We're on the road to 1,000, as I've been saying, subscribers. So we're like, hopefully we'll be closer to it than we are now. But as of recording, I got like 114 left before 1,000. So crossing my fingers. YouTube.com/thisismybourbonpodcast, please. So we start the show off normally with Flying Blind, where I blind the guest or co-host with something. What do you think about the nose, Chad?
I like the nose. It's very brown sugary, brown buttery.
What have we been calling? We've been calling you Chad Extra Crispy.
Yeah, extra crispy.
Yeah.
It's Bourbon Night Chad's original recipe, and
I called you Other Chad at one point, and you were like, "Please don't, please don't do that to me."
I mean, Chad is fine, but I kind of like extra crispy. I'm trying to take that on the I'm trying to make that my persona.
You could. I would love to see that on your tag at work as well. Your name tag.
I've said that, but no one else is in agreement that my name should be extra crispy.
Well, I'm really disappointed that Sean is not Swan on his name tag too. Are we allowed to talk about this, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
I wanted to make sure because I didn't know if there was not non-compete or non-disclosure, I guess. About it. So Swan works for you.
Yeah,
at Total Wine.
Yeah, he's one of my supervisors at Total Wine. I mean, I talk about it on my Instagram page and in my videos, so it's not really a secret, I guess, because a lot of people who've come in have not a lot, like 10 people have recognized me from my page.
Sure.
So, which is cool, that I've got 10 people who know me from the internet.
I just wanted to make sure before we got too deep into it, and then it was like, oh, you have to erase everything where we said where I work. So, dude, I love this bourbon so much.
Yeah, this is good. I haven't. There's something in there that reminds me of a distillery, like something key in there, but I can't figure out who.
I will be very shocked if you grab this one out of the ether. Also, if you hear my dog barking in the background, first off, that's Marie. And second off, no, there is not a dog fighting ring in my backyard. That's just how she interacts with the neighbor's dogs. So,
I'm a dog. Hey, I too am a dog.
Let's tell each other through the fence incessantly.
I want to say this reminds me of Wild Turkey, but I don't know.
It is not Wild Turkey. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah, tell me what it is.
1972 Ezra Brooks.
Oh, son.
From a decanter.
I would not have gotten that.
Yeah, I know. And that was a gift from Matt Porter of ADHD Whiskey the first time that he came to the house. And so...
No wonder it's got a little bit of funk to it because it's from a 1972
Yeah, exactly.
decanter.
It's the decanter. I don't know if I've ever talked about this or if you've ever heard about it or not, but it's from a beaver decanter, which is just the most Matt Porter thing that could have been done. Chad, what have you been drinking recently, man?
Man, a little bit of everything.
You and Swan with that dang answer.
So, it's true though. I mean, we got our Nulu maple barrel in the other day, so I've been drinking on that, which I'm sorry I forgot to bring.
No, it's fine. Swan said that it was, I think his words were interesting.
Yeah, it is very thick, so the mouth feels like maple, and it's very sweet. So if you're not into either one of those,
I don't know if I would be, because you liked that Kentucky Ale maple barrel stout.
I loved that.
I did not care for it.
That was my jam.
All.
You probably would not like this one.
I had a hard time finishing that beer, to be honest.
What's sad is I could chug that. Like, I could put a can of that down in like 10 seconds.
And I feel like I would get diabetes from it. So, trying to think.
I mean, so I've had that. I've been doing a lot of rye.
Yeah.
Like just like your basics, your Rittenhouse, Wild Turkey 101 rye.
Which I love, man.
Yeah, I do too.
It's so good.
These rye picks that I brought, I've been sipping on those a little bit. Mostly rye. Besides store picks of the Nulu that we got the other day, it's pretty much just been if I come home from work, I'm having like a bonded rye.
Interesting.
That's just been my mood. Like I've just wanted that minty earthiness, and especially Rittenhouse, man, it just delivers for $20. I can't beat it.
I had my first bottle of Rittenhouse I really liked when I first opened it. And I let it sit for probably too long, and it soured. And I really didn't like it.
Yeah, to me, because I had a bottle that I left open for like 3 months, and that was
bad.
Bad.
This was longer.
No,
this was like a year.
Oh, no. Rittenhouse, to me, it's like if you don't drink it within a month,
Yeah.
it loses some of that nice, minty rye quality that it has and just turns to like, sour. I don't know.
Absolutely.
That's kind of also how I feel about the Elijah Craig rye. I wasn't a fan of that, but my bottle's been open forever now since last year. When I went back to it, no bueno. Not at all.
Really?
Yeah. It did not open up well. I think maybe the cork wasn't pushed all the way in, but yeah, it is.
I hate when that happens to bottles.
Yeah. I can't bring myself to pour it out, but it needs to be done.
Just let it sit. It'll just be a little conversation piece or something.
Man, that Ezra.
It's really good. I know.
That was really good,
Absolutely fantastic. Well, I, as of recording, just came off of my second victory in Matt Madness. So that was a whole rye flight that we had. So rye for me as well, I guess. Trying to remember what all of them were. The first one was rare breed rye. Elijah Craig rye was thrown in there as well. I can't remember. You drink a lot during those things. Oh, goodness gracious. But it's I've been having a lot of fun, not just with Matt Madness itself, but like the preparation for it and everything too.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to move on to the semifinals. I don't know who I'm facing yet. I'm really scared.
Who wasn't you said you thought you were going to face in the finals?
Oh, I don't really know who I'm going to face in the finals at this point, but Grease kind of called me out.
Yeah.
From the podcast. And after he won last week, the week before I won my quarterfinals against Clifton. And he was like, all right, I'm going to see you in the finals, Perry. And I was like, I mean, we both got a couple more rounds before we get there, but okay, buddy.
Whether or not you both make it, he will see you there. That's what he's saying.
You know what's funny, though? There's a good chance of that because now the past 2 fights that I've had in Matt Madness, he has made an appearance despite not being on the bracket at that moment. So there is a good chance that one way or another, I will see him in the finals if I make it that far.
It's an intimidation strategy and a promise.
I feel both. Like I don't feel let down by that notion by any means. So I wanted to talk about that was a weird way of saying that. I want to talk about
Let's talk
about stuff. You exist, I would say, in a very different world from the podcast and from YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
And your produced / edited content is all videos on Instagram.
Yep.
which is crazy to me. And like, I know that plenty of people are doing it. I mean, who knows how many influencers now.
Oh, there's people who do like full on. I'd set my iPhone up and I shoot a 10 to 15 minute video. I mean, there are people who do like legit YouTube quality videos on Instagram.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to do that. That's a lot of time. I told myself I was going to do a YouTube channel, and I kept even making posts like, oh, next week I'll do this. And I never did. I uploaded one video on there, and one person commented on it, and it was a follower of mine who I'm not going to name because, I mean, he's casually known to just be a dick. But
awesome.
He commented on the one video, like, I was like, hey, I'm posting this. Will you check out the quality, make sure to upload it good, yada, yada, yada. And he commented on it, and he's like, yeah, stick to Instagram. And I was like, okay.
Oh.
So,
okay.
I didn't put much effort into editing it, but that's my thing is, with work and trying to edit videos for YouTube, I found I just don't put as much effort into wanting to do it.
Yeah.
Versus Instagram, I'll record 4 or 5 videos over the course of a day when I'm off, and I'm excited about it because it's only 10 to 15 minutes of my day versus here's a 20-minute video that I spend 5 hours editing, and it still looks like crap. So that, I tried TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I don't understand. I don't really understand TikTok. But
sure. I want to do a YouTube video about bourbon TikTok because it's taken off.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it's not, I don't really want to like, I just kind of want to examine it more than anything because it's such a subculture of TikTok.
Yeah. And I mean, there's like a buddy of mine, Justin Howell, Bourbon Holler. He was like, dude, you need to make a TikTok. It's like, I've got thousands of followers in like 2 weeks and it's awesome. And like brands are noticing me on here. They weren't noticing me on Instagram. And like people on there, like he would do a produced video for 15 seconds. And I mean, his lighting was great and he would do like nice ambient music and everything was just perfect. And I'm like, yeah, dog, I'm just, once again, iPhone, whatever effects are on TikTok are what I'm using. And I'm not taking off on there, but also I don't put effort into it.
Yeah. I've got like 3 TikToks. 2 of them are of my daughter. So that just goes to show how, great of a dad I am more than anything when I'm trying to use my daughter for content. But, but I don't really have, I don't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah.
I guess with TikTok, but I think that Instagram is one of those things where it's so much more accessible than YouTube is. YouTube does demand a higher level of quality than
absolutely
than what you might get from Instagram. And I'm not trying to knock what you do by any means. It sounded like I was for a second.
No, trust me.
Hey, dude, your stuff sucks. Stick to Instagram.
Like the one video I had on there, I took off. I was like, I'm not even going to just make it private. I'm going to delete it. And because you look at like what Chad and Sarah do, man. And I mean, every time I talk to Chad, it's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm editing this video. And he puts the effort in, and it shows. Their videos are phenomenal, and people talk about that. And like that's like my high point of where I would like to be. And I feel like if I'm not going to give that effort into it, just don't do it. Like to me,
I think that's a fair assertion to kind of assertion. I don't care to make, but I also think that. They do set such a high bar for everybody, but I think that if what you do is honest enough, and just very true to a brand as opposed to trying to be somebody else or something else, people will follow. I mean, that's what attracts people. If you don't believe in yourself to start out with, then friggin' nobody's going to.
And that's kind of the thing is, I'm like, man, I'm doing decently fine on Instagram. I have fun, and that's like there are people who are like, go to join these Discord groups. I'm like, man, I have a hard time keeping up with Instagram, and then trying to add YouTube into it, and now you want to bring on TikTok and Discord. Like, there's too many things. Like, I want to be on Instagram, and I think that's where I'm going to stay for the time being. maybe down the line I might try jumping back on YouTube, and I'll ask someone nicer to look at my video.
I mean, you can just as easily share those videos on something like even like Twitter. You know, I mean, have you not necessarily thought about it, but is that, just trying to diversify it all? I mean, aside from doing YouTube, of course, but like, has there been any?
Not really. I mean, I haven't had Twitter I don't even have a Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I haven't had Facebook in like 12 years, maybe 10 years. But yeah, I haven't had Twitter in probably 7 or 8 years.
So brave.
Yeah. I know, man.
Sorry.
But like, when I look at like things like that and I hear brands, and other like podcasts and pages, and they're like, yeah, check us out on Twitter, our most, and of all things, you're like, yeah, our most up-to-date information is always on Twitter. And I'm like, why? I mean, if you've got like 20,000 followers on Instagram and then you've got like 1,500 on Twitter, I get you're trying to grow that, but why is your most up-to-date information on Twitter?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. That's just me. But I don't know what I can contribute to Twitter and what I could make worth it, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess if your followers are so locked into the one thing.
Well, I just assume everyone is locked in like I am. I mean, it's crazy to say as a guy who is a tech nerd and stuff that I just want to stick to one thing. But I want to make Instagram like, I want to perfect it for me before I go on to something else. I don't want to half-ass it and then half-ass something else.
Yeah. Whole ass one thing. Never half-ass two things. Ron Swanson. Do you want to pour something else?
Yeah, man. Let's you pick.
Well, I don't know. What are the you brought 2 of those down homes?
Yeah,
right.
There is a 9-year 117.5 proof rye whiskey. Yeah. This is a medicinal whiskey pick. Like, their stickers are always awesome.
That's a killer label.
Yeah.
Little sticker, I guess.
They do a fantastic job on their stickers. I really love them. And then this is a Liquor Barn. It says wheat whiskey, but I believe it's MGP, but I think it's wheated bourbon. Or at least that's what someone else said, so I'm going with it. 119 proof, and this is the heavy toast. I've got mixed feelings on it, but which would you like to try?
Should we work our way up to that high proof? I'm scared. Should we do the Jeffersons?
Let's do the Jeffersons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just looking at
so this is your all's pick?
This is a total wine pick. This is barrel number 26.
And it's one of the new 100 proofs.
Yeah, we had 2 barrels come in, and they were of the new 100 proof lineup, barrel 26 and 27.
America. I'm excited to try this. I didn't pick one up when it was on the shelves, or really on the barrel, as it were, at Total Wine. But
yeah, they moved. I didn't think they would sell that quick. And Swan was like, "No, we need to put these on the barrel." And we weren't even gonna open one because I was like, "No, I don't know if they'll fly like that." And then we opened one, and like 2 days later, they're gone.
It's so sugary.
It is. I'm telling you, this is there's no way this is a rye-based bourbon. Like, normally when you say brown sugar, it's kind of like in the essence of brown sugar, and this is like legit brown sugar to me.
It's almost like that brown sugar cinnamon toast that you would make when you're a kid, which is, it's literally just cinnamon and sugar on toast. Okay, first off, it's been a while since I've had a Jefferson's that I've liked as much as I do this.
And it has to be weeded, man. Do you think it's weeded? Like,
truth be told, I don't know for sure, because there's like a spice tingle that I'm kind of getting that reminds me more of a rye bourbon. But at the same time,
that or it's got to be a super high corn content. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
It is so sweet. But not in a bad way for 100 proof.
I'm with you, though. It doesn't exactly read like a rye mash bill. Shoot, dude.
I know what upsets me is I only bought one of these. And
it's really good. Yeah. I don't want to knock it at all.
And there's none left. So that's even worse.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, honestly, I've been doing so much palate training, maybe my brain's just fried, but it's a thinker. I might have to send a sample to Matt Porter
Yeah, man.
and ask him what he thinks.
I mean,
because he is the world's top whiskey taster, after all.
don't you know?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You competed as well. I'm sorry. I forgot. I legitimately forgot. I'm so sorry. Now I feel awful.
Not a sore subject at all. It's okay. I came in second for Kentucky, so I didn't lose to him. I lost to Sarah. So
Sarah from It's Bourbon Night?
no. Oh, I can't remember her name on Instagram. No, she writes for like Bourbon Review. She does some stuff with them. But
Are you thinking of...
No, not...
Is it Caroline?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, I was second.
What a great story.
Yes. I was second. And do you want to know how much I lost by?
A point?
Yeah, a point.
Yeah.
It was, she had, I don't know, like 16 and I had 15. And I was quite butthurt in the sense that the question that I got wrong was purely like impulse on the guess. And
was it like what do you mean, like a 30-second, like you got to figure it out?
No, it was the samples they sent. Like one of them was, guess, is this a bourbon, Scotch, rye, or Irish whiskey? I firmly believe that I got sent an Irish whiskey. But I was so stumped on it because it did not taste like a bourbon or a rye. Definitely wasn't a Scotch. But it ended up being like, I think, this Fusion Series 1, which I've never had. So I was like, I don't know, because that could have had some super young stuff in there that tasted funky. But
it did. It had like 2- and 3-year-old distillate from Bardstown Bourbon Company.
So like I'd never had that, and I'm like, this just does not read like a bourbon to me. It is funky. It's got this like shortbready cracker quality thing going on.
Yeah.
And
have you had it since?
No.
Do you want to?
Yeah. Let's do that.
So we're kind of jumping around with proof here. But
yeah.
I mean, this is what, like 90 or something? 90.2?
Yeah. The Fusion usually is low. Okay. Yeah. I would tell you, but it doesn't tell me.
It does not. No, you're correct. I'm so stumped on this Jefferson's, though.
Dude, I know. I reviewed it in a video, and I'm like, this has to be weeded. If it's not weeded, then sorry. But it just tastes weeded to me.
Yeah. We're unearthing a conspiracy here, by the way.
Yeah. That may have been it. It's not as earthy as I remember.
Well, to be fair, this is from a sample bottle that has been open since Fusion 1 was out. So
True. But yeah, Fusion 1 was the bourbon that lost me my point.
Can I be honest with you, though?
Mm-hmm.
I can see why you would have gotten that confused with an Irish whiskey. Hands down.
Yeah.
I don't knock you at all for that.
It drinks like a Irish whiskey with some age to it, or aged in a bourbon barrel.
Yeah.
Like that's whenever I drink it, I was like, man, there's no way. It's definitely not a single malt Scotch. It is not a rye whiskey, and I don't think it's a bourbon. And I was like, and then like 10 seconds, which one, number 1, 2, or 3? And I was just type my number, press enter, cross my fingers. Wrong. So
it almost reminds me of Blue Spot.
Yeah.
Oddly enough. Yes,
I
have had some Irish whiskey, okay? Sorry, this is my Bourbon Podcast listeners.
You've also been known to enjoy some Balvenie occasionally, so.
I have, yes. I like Scotch. I like Irish whiskey. I just don't drink it a lot on the show because the whole thing, it's bourbon. Like, yeah. I don't want to keep, it's fun to do other whiskeys every now and then, but like.
Right, the primary reasoning is
bourbon. Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, I will lose people if I just start doing a mix of everything. At the same time, I'll probably gain some followers as well.
Yeah, but they're going to come in with this assumption that like, oh, he regularly does this.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, bourbon is the, it's the primary focus here. This is my Bourbon Podcast. But I can totally understand why you would have said Irish whiskey. Truth be told, I think I might have done the same if I had been given that.
Yeah, and I mean
those options.
Like getting that as a blind sample and then trying to decide within like 2 minutes, what is this? Normally isn't too hard. But
it's not the easiest thing in the world.
But also, yeah, it's when you're racking your brain on, is it one of these 4? And some people would have no idea. I mean, if you've never had younger whiskey, or I know Fusion, they always are going to blend older stock in there. But if you've never had like Fusion 1, you would have no idea what it tasted like.
And I mean, it's not like Fusion 1 is so accessible that you can just go out to a store, pick a bottle up, and then, be able to have that in your palate memory bank.
Right. But, I mean, we had Fusion 2 in my store until like February of this year. I finally sold out of that. So, I picked up an extra bottle of that, but I'd never had Fusion 1. So after learning that, I was like, I should probably get Fusion 2 just in case down the line.
Yeah. Did you like Fusion 3? I thought Fusion 3 was the best one they had so far.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love Fusion 3. That is fantastic.
I mean, I don't think I put it in my top 10 from last year, but I definitely put it in like honorable mentions if nothing else.
I don't think I put it in my top 10 because I didn't pay for the bottle. They gave me a bottle.
See, that's right, because that was
my
consolation prize.
Which, by all means, they gave me that and Discovery, and I mean that's almost $200 in free whiskey alone.
Yeah,
so I'm not complaining.
Which was it? Discovery 3,
Discovery 4, Fusion 3.
I haven't even seen Fusion 4 yet. Is it out?
Yeah, I got
Fusion 4 is out.
Yeah, I got it at work.
Really?
Yep.
I'm curious. I think I'm more interested in the Fusion products than I am Discovery. Well, despite the fact that Discovery, should and it is consistently a hitter.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, it's $120 to $135 bottle, old stock from reputable places.
Yeah.
And it's always a hit. But what's awesome is since I have had Fusion 2, 3, Fusion 2 and 3, I haven't had 4 yet because I haven't bought it. But it's just the progression and just seeing how it's changed. And, I mean, Fusion 3 was, a damn good whiskey.
Yeah,
it was a
absolutely.
really good bourbon.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was fortunate enough back when they announced the first Pfeiffer Pavitt Reserve to go to the distillery, and they wined and dined us and everything. And
which they're great about.
You know they absolutely are. And I think that was the first moment where I was just kind of like, some people take me seriously in this thing. I mean, like I'm sitting around with, the Bourbon Review. Michael Veach was there. Yeah. I think Susan Regler might have been there as well. I can't remember for sure, but it just was one of those things where I was like, I feel very out of place, even though, they invited me. I mean, they wouldn't have invited me if, they didn't think I had something to add. Anyway, that's beside the point. That is so not the point at all. I'm so sorry. That made me sound like such a dick.
No, I mean you were shocked, and you were happy to be shocked.
The point behind that nonsense rambling though was that Michael Veach made it very. I mean, he was very pronounced about his feelings about Fusion 1.
Yeah,
he was like he could barely believe that it was some of their own stock that was helping round it out as much as it was. And what I'm getting at is that I am much more interested in seeing how Fusion has progressed over the past few years, as opposed to Discovery, which is just basically a blending project.
Yeah, I mean, and that's understandable, and that's what makes the price point. Because I mean, of course, it's one blend, one and done. But to me, it's a steal. I mean, $55 for Fusion, and seeing how they are growing as a company. And I hope in time they're going to start, using less and less of that Barton juice that's in there. And
I think they will. I think that it's, if I remember correctly, they used less in 3 than they did in 1.
They absolutely did. But I mean, I'm talking like now that they're using 4-year juice, because they're using 1 4-year and 2 3 years, and then the 13-year and Fusion 4, and they're using like 40% of the 13-year. I'd like to see it like
that's awesome.
Yeah. I'd like to see it around like 25%.
Steve Nally's getting confident over at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Dude, which by the way, he is a super nice guy.
He is.
He came to that tasting that we had at our store. We didn't even know he was going to be there. I was just talking to Jeremy, their Kentucky like regional sales manager, and he didn't know that Steve was going to be there, and he just showed up, and we're like, oh, hey, this is cool.
Okay.
Signing bottles, and just hung out for 4.5 hours and talked to customers. And I mean, that was awesome.
So the very first time that I went to Bardstown, I can't remember which episode this was. I think it was around the 50 mark for the podcast. And it might have actually been episode 50. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I walked in and David Mandel was still there. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of showing me around the place and everything. And he was like, Steve's upstairs right now. He's finishing up a conversation with Jim Rutledge. And I was like, Jim Rutledge is here. He was like, yeah, do you want to see if we can get him on the podcast? I was like, excuse me? What are you talking about? Yes, for sure. So I had like everybody that was, at that point, important at Bardstown sitting at the table. And then daggone Jim Rutledge is just in the middle there too. And I can't even remember the questions that I asked him. And, I've edited it and I haven't gone back and listened to that episode since, but there was such a cool moment to just out of nowhere be able to interview a legend.
Well, yeah, interview the man who kind of put Four Roses on the map. I mean,
absolutely saved him as a brand.
Exactly.
I think.
And then, and then now the stuff that he's doing.
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to say there. I'm really sorry. I'll say this though. Let's pour something else.
Yeah. What to now? Everything I brought is like cast strength. And everything you brought is cast strength.
That is. Hey man, that's just kind of the. That's where we fall on our swords here. But what's the rhetoric proof?
90.8.
Let's do that since that's going to be I know that it's older, but I still think that I'm actually really excited about this. I have not had many of the rhetoric.
As much as you want.
I'm going to do a Perry pour. No, that's not true. I might have to drive to my parents for dinner later. So. Fusion 1 is so good though. Okay, that's enough for me.
So some 24-year-old.
It's Heaven Hill, right?
I'll go big with you. Not because I wanted to.
Misery loves company.
But it just happened and I wasn't saying no.
Hey, that was how the Perry Pour was born. So, and then original recipe Chad looked at me and said, what are you doing?
Extra crispy Chad's just like, let's party.
Give it to me. I'm here for a good time, not for a long time.
That's right. Yeah, so I mean, this came from the Bernheim, whatever, everyone wants to believe. I mean, now the Diageo owns the Orphan Barrel brand. Yeah. So, of course, they sell it at Stitzelweller or Blade & Bow. But, I mean, it came from the Bernheim warehouse that aged a ton of, held a ton of stuff at that time. But from what I found online, the actual rhetoric line is just old Heaven Hill juice.
Yeah.
So, and I could be wrong because I'm just believing what someone on the internet said. But, I mean, it's 24 years old Kentucky bourbon, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
have you had the Single Cask Nation?
Yeah.
20-year-old.
Oh my god.
Free Fire, dude. Oh, it's almost a life changer. Honestly,
I don't know what that goes for on secondary, but I would consider at least up to $500 for a bottle. That's how much I like it.
You do you, man.
I wouldn't.
You do you.
I mean, but
I know though. I know.
Yeah,
I think it's the best Dusty Heaven Hill I've ever had. And I'm calling it a Dusty because technically
it is.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, 100%. And no, that was phenomenal.
This is a great nose, though. It's not overly oaky.
Not on the nose.
Oh, well, here we go. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
The nose, though, is like, dark fruit. I mean, it's got some oak in there. And this may sound weird, but now that, I have to, like, analyze wine for work, it reminds me of, like, an oaky, very rich Cabernet on the nose.
Yeah, totally.
The dark fruit that it's got going on. And excuse me for saying this, but there's also like a dirt note. So
no, I think that there is that. I don't disagree with you at all. It's very soily.
Yeah, but it's like, and it's good. Like
it's
a very pleasurable nose.
Yeah, nothing really stands out as being like. It all works very harmoniously.
Yes,
I would say.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know why I was trying to say it better.
You're gonna say the exact same thing, just in different words.
Just in different words. But no, you said it fine.
Yeah.
And let's have a taste of this.
Hey, cheers, though.
Yeah, cheers, man.
In the immortal words of Sarah Perkins, it's not every day that you get to have a 24-year-old. Except she said 18, and it's one of the funniest freaking things I've ever heard in my entire life.
I have that video saved, and I'll occasionally will refer back to that just to show people at work. Or like if I have customers come in and I'm like, oh, you know, it's bourbon night, and I'm like, I tell them like, oh, you're local, da da da. No, well, let me show you this one video.
And to be fair, it does pretty much sum up the entirety of their YouTube career.
And that's the one that I show them.
Perfect. Boy, it doesn't drink like it's 24 years old. Which means that it doesn't go to the bar and get hammered on Miller Lite. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
it drinks pretty light. I mean, like, it doesn't have that tannic quality that the over 20-year-old bourbons typically get, where it just like coats your tongue and sits on it and you can't taste anything else.
I haven't had this in a few months. When I first opened it, it did. It was like you took a drink and I was dehydrated. I mean, like, you did have to go to the ER after having a sip of this. But now it's opened up really well.
Yeah.
Like, I've been crapping on this, like, oh, it's no good. It's just like eating a shoe from the 50s. But it's actually pretty good.
What a metaphor to have. I mean, I guess it was a simile, wasn't it?
Leather, oak.
Leather,
wood sole, Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I quit, but I get it. I still reference that commercial. Do you know which commercial I'm talking about?
I quit, but I get it.
It's the Geico commercial with the caveman. He's playing tennis against Billie Jean King.
Yes.
Yeah, and the blimp goes over, and it's like, so easy a caveman could do it. And he's like, I get it. I quit, but I get it.
Do you remember when they tried to make that a TV show?
Oh my gosh, my brain has totally just left that out.
Yeah.
I have suppressed that somehow.
That's almost like a Mandela effect thing, because everyone's like, no, it didn't. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Like, they marketed that hard.
It was... I don't even remember watching it. I just remember thinking, I don't know who this is for, but it is not me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I want to say I was like 9 or 10. I might have been older. I don't know.
You're older than I am. Right?
Yeah, I'll be 30 this year.
I'm 28 in August, so
yeah,
not by much.
Yeah, I am older than you.
Are you sure that it was that early in our lives?
I want to say yes. That's what the Google is for.
Yeah. If only there were a way for us to find out.
I'm just Googling the Caveman Show because I have no idea what it's called.
It's going to come up with the Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
It's called Cavemen.
Ugh.
2007. Whoa, I was 6. No, 2000.
No, you weren't. Hey, my name's Chad. I'm turning 30 this year, and I was 6 in 2007. Really? Because I was 14 in 2007.
No. Yeah, no. And for
that
some reason,
legitimately broke my brain for a second. I was like, something's not adding up here.
When I read that, like, I know I said 2007, but in my mind, I was thinking 1997, and I don't know why.
That's fair.
No, not really. I don't know why, but yeah. I was 16 in 2007.
Yeah, I was in my first year of high school, and I don't ever remember watching that show, but I definitely know that it was not something I had any interest in seeing.
I mean, I don't know what channel it was on, but I mean, about that time in my life, I was watching like King of Queens and Yes Dear, if you remember those.
Was Yes Dear? That was David.
Mike O'Malley.
Oh, that was Mike O'Malley.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what am I thinking of? What's the David? Crap, he was on SNL. He was in Tommy Boy.
Oh.
David Spade.
What was his show? Was that Just Shoot Me?
Yeah, it was Just Shoot Me. That was what I was about to say too, and I was like, maybe that was more 80s or 90s, but yeah, these are all shows that I didn't really ever watch, but I know were cultural touchstones for that part of us growing up.
I don't know if like Just Shoot Me ever. I mean, like it lasted for several years, I think, but I don't know.
Think I've watched a single episode.
I'm sure I had. It's one of those shows that like you watch in a hotel room because you don't know what's on TV.
That is 100% what that show is. It's either that or Sports Center.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a TV listing, but you're like, oh, there's Sports Center or Just Shoot Me.
So I'll tell it. We're so far off base from bourbon at this point, but here we are. This is like classic. This is my bourbon podcast episode here. But I'll tell a funny story, and I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but on our honeymoon, there was this TV station in our resort that played one movie the entire time, except for like the 2.5 hours that it played the Kevin Smith movie Tusk.
Oh,
Which is not a good movie for a honeymoon.
No.
But the entire rest of the time, it was why can't I remember anything today? I can normally remember stuff, and then I get on mic, and I'm like, I can't think of anything. It was that Christmas movie with Liam Neeson and Keira Knightley and... Just Shoot Me? No, just kidding. Love Actually. There we go.
I just got it.
I was going to say, they've shown me Pirates of the Caribbean 18 times. But they didn't show me Love Actually. But that channel played Love Actually, I kid you not, on repeat the entire time we were there. And then one guy must have been like, we can't keep showing these people the same movie. And they threw in Tusk, of all movies.
He's like, I wonder if anyone's actually watching this channel.
To be fair, we caught like the last 30 minutes of Tusk, and we were both going, what is happening here? Why is that guy a walrus now?
Yeah, I seen that movie a long time ago, and
it's rough, man.
It is very rough.
It's tough to watch.
I don't advise anyone watching it, but
I don't think it's a bad movie necessarily. But I don't think Kevin Smith has really done anything great other than like Clerks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his point was in that movie. I'm sure he's talked about it, but I mean, like, you know, Clerks and Jay and Silent Bob are like the Mallrats, or what he's known for.
I forgot about Mallrats for a second.
That movie's old.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Bourbon was Orphan Barrel. Rhetoric?
Orphan Barrel, Rhetoric 24-year.
So I'll ask you this. Do you think that the Orphan Barrel products are worth the price that they fetch?
So I bought Barter House last year for $86.
I love Barter House.
And that's, 20 years old?
Yep.
For $86?
That's a wonderful price.
Hell yeah.
Is that what it's being sold for at Total Wine?
That's what I paid for it. I think
with your employee discount.
No, there's no employee discount on that. But I think the price has gone up, weirdly enough, and because I've had price changes come through for it, and we'll never have it. But we went through this crazy period last summer of like July through September of where we got Orphan Barrel products like twice a week, and we were like, I was stacked. I had every Rhetoric except 21 and 23. You could buy the entire lineup.
Dang.
$150 a bottle from 20 to 20. I think the 25-year-old was $175. I think this 24 was $160. But a 24-year-old bourbon for $160?
That's not a bad price.
No.
I mean, I feel like the only direct comparison we can make is, Van Winkle 23-year.
Which is $2.99 or like $3.99
yeah, exactly.
now. I mean, it's like Sazerac and RNDC have raised the price on that. So
yeah, I don't have any problem paying $150, $175 for that.
I mean, I hated this when I first got it, and I
remember that video now that we've talked about it.
Yeah, I crapped on it. But I would happily buy another one, open it, wait 7 months, and try it again. And knowing how good this is,
I just took a sip of water. I know, but it's got such a nice tobacco-y finish.
It does
on it. It would be so good with like a sun-grown cigar.
Absolutely. This is like that musty barn tobacco like thing. This would be great with a cigar.
Yeah, I don't think that it would pair well with something shade grown like a Connecticut, but dude, that is really, really good. So Will from the podcast collects all of the Rhetorics. So he's got, the first one was what? Was the first one 20 or was the first one like 18 or 19?
No, it was 20. It went Rhetoric 20 through 25.
Right. So he's got the whole lineup, and I mean, he made it a point to collect that. That's something that, like, in retrospect, I kind of wish I had done.
Me too.
I've never really had the money for it, to be quite honest. But, like, especially when you see that complete set, that's what, like $1,500 or something?
$2,300.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me and is honestly so frustrating.
Because they start at 150 and go to 175, and there's 6 bottles, so I mean, maybe all in $1,200. If I'm doing the quick math right, you're paying literally
twice as much
for a wood box that you could make for $50.
I'm sure you could hear the heavy eye roll through the through the speakers, but that's just such a load of nonsense, man.
I sold, so Total Wine had 2 of those. I sold both of them. One of them to a guy who's probably not listening because he didn't drink. He was a doctor. He had just bought a new house for his vacation home in Lexington, and he wanted a conversation piece in his man cave. So he paid that money to sit on a mantle to talk about.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money.
But I think that's who that was meant to appeal for, because who else, why would you spend that kind of money when you could buy them separately for half the price?
Well, I mean, that may be true, but that's also making the assumption that they are widely available at that price.
True.
There's no secondary value, and people are not feeling the FOMO by having missed out on them the first time they were out.
I don't know what secondary is like on these, though.
I truth be told, I don't think that they have any secondary value. I mean, it's like Kentucky Owl. There's not you either are selling it at MSRP or it's dead in the water.
Unless you have batch 1 rye.
I don't disagree with you on that. I do think that the older batches have more value, but there's no instant gratification as far as secondary value goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like taking a Weller 12 and selling it for $150 versus batch 1, which was retail of what when it came out, like $100.
One or 150. I can't remember for sure.
I mean, it's been a while, but I mean, now they're $300, so someone may sell it for $200. I mean, 3 max. Maybe.
And I mean, at that point, I don't know. I think in some regards that is worth it for the person who is picking it up, because that's more of a collector's thing than anything. And they believe in what Dixon was doing with Kentucky Owl and this, that, and the other. But as far as we're talking from a flipper's perspective, I don't think that it has any secondary value.
I don't think it does either. But however, I mean, I would love to find a bottle of Barterhouse if anyone's listening, and you've got a Barterhouse that's not as priced outrageously.
If there's any more at Total Wine as well.
I wish.
I would love for there to be some at Total Wine, because I would snap that up really quickly.
So like what I totally got off on a tangent about. Shocker.
Have you listened to this episode yet?
Yeah.
We talked about Just Shoot Me and Love Actually, so...
For a good solid 5 minutes. But what someone had told me is the distributor, this goes through, I want to say it's Southern Glaciers, I can't remember. Something about them having it tied up, because I guess it's supposed to be exported, and that was like right last summer when all the tariff stuff was happening. And then they decided to keep it, so it all went back to the U.S. So instead of going overseas, because we were taxing it, they decided like, well, we're gonna, not Southern Glaciers decided they were gonna send overseas, but like it got shipped to them because of that. That's what I had heard. So Southern's our local. I mean, they're like the number 2 largest distributor in America.
Yeah.
But my rep said that was what he thought that it was, because everyone thought they were just randomly like, oh, they're bottling 24-year-old Kentucky bourbon that came out 3 years ago. How is that happening? I guess they had just been sitting in limbo for a while.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally fair, and I don't discredit that possibility at all. But it's funny because I think that so many of us rather, have that very quick turnaround with FOMO.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, even just this, it's like, boy, I really should have picked one of them up while it was while it was in the store. I mean, even just to have and break out and, you know, show people what a 24-year-old whiskey from Kentucky could actually taste like without thinking that it's over oaked.
This has opened up so well.
It's so good. Well. And again, it's just really good.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be, you know, blasé about the, you know, my attitude towards it, but I mean, it is genuinely very good.
I don't remember when, I want to say this was 2016 when they released this, 2017.
Golly, has it been that long?
I think so.
It's kind of sad.
There's no date. I'm trying to find like a laser code or something on there, but the only thing that I can find is the 10 stamp on the bottom, which I know it came out after 2010. But yeah, I mean, so 24-year-old Heaven Hill, you just don't come across that every day. So like now, like it's a fun conversation piece, and now that I know it's opened up well, it might disappear a little faster than I want it to.
I mean, that's that's always my problem too, is that, you know, I just want to share it with people, and it's like,
yeah, I mean, with the Barter House I got last year, I sampled that out to so many people and left myself with like a quarter of the bottle, and I was like, well,
I don't even have that left of mine.
I was like, $85, $86, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people got to try 20-year-old bourbon from Kentucky that they would have not had otherwise? I mean,
I'm not mad. I'm not mad about, you know, the sharing. I just wish that there were more of it.
Oh no, I wish there was tons more of it.
What a novel concept. We wish that there was more of the older stock for us to.
I think they're putting out like a 26. No, what's the latest one I got? 16-year-old. Is it 16-year-old Dickel Orphan Barrel?
Oh boy!
Yeah!
Yay!
They did the.
Are they calling it bourbon or are they calling it whiskey?
I don't know. It's they did the Muckety Muck, which was the single grain.
That was a Scotch.
Scotch.
Yeah.
I think this year it's either like a 16 or an 18-year-old Dickel release, which I like Dickel. I'm not crapping on that, but I'm gonna have a hard time paying Orphan Barrel prices for Dickel product when I can get Dickel 15-year for like $70 on my shelf already.
You liked the most recent release of the Bourbon too, right?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
I still have not tried it.
Oh, I wish I would have known. I would have brought it.
Sorry. I'm just gonna send you a list every week of like things I haven't tried.
Yeah, Perry's list. Here's what I have not tried this week. Yeah, I have that. I'll bring it. I mean, I know most people say Dickel's got this like the Flintstone vitamin thing, which I don't know. I haven't had Flintstone vitamin since I was like 12, so I don't remember what those taste like. But Dickel to me has a very earthy, like mushroomy, like note in there, and then like citrus, and like a heavy citrus, like almost an artificial orange peel. But I enjoy that. It's not something that I would go to every day. I'm not going to sit around and drink George Dickel all the time. But occasionally, it's a nice change. And then I'll get on this kick where I just drink nothing but like new Smooth Ambler, like 5-year, 6-year products that come from Dickel. Some 10-year-old Dickel picks.
Yeah.
And then like the 107 Smooth Ambler American whiskeys. Like I get on kicks of that because I've got several of those at home.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't see the hate in Dickel. I know the age range. It's not for everybody.
Truth be told, I think a lot of the hate that comes for it is from Kentuckians. you know,
no, 100%.
Speaking as a Kentuckian,
I mean, it is. How many people have you let try Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof and then be like, no way, this is Jack Daniel's?
Oh, my father-in-law cussed me out because I gave him Jack Daniel's and he loved it.
I
gave it to him blind, and then, you know, he couldn't believe it.
I had an associate at work who his favorite bourbon once he got to purchase one was Stag Junior. Well, obviously, who doesn't love Stag Junior?
Yeah.
I said, dude, buy you a pint of Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof over there, you'll never look back.
I have no intention of going out of my way to buy Stag Junior.
Yeah.
Anymore. I mean, Jack Barrel Proof is
perfect. I mean,
stellar.
$50 to $60 a bottle, and
I don't have any problem buying the pints either at Total Wine.
Yeah, because I mean, 2 pints are the same as a fifth. So,
yeah, exactly. It's a little bit more expensive, but still.
$5 more
I
expensive.
know. But I
hate that I know all these prices off the top of my head.
It's literally your job to know those prices off the top of your head.
It is. And I can also tell you that two pints of Hennessy are the same as a fifth because they adjusted the price to accommodate for the shortage in product. So
that's actually quite nice of them.
It is nice of them because usually they're like, a pint's $10 less than a fifth. No, they adjusted it for that.
So we got kind of off for a while, of course, but
yes.
I do want to ask about, because this is something that Swan has kind of told me about before. Toulouse, I can hear you through the microphone, dude. He's told me about before, and I wanted to kind of get the perspective of somebody who is in the midst of it. But it seems like the community of people on Instagram are very much their own thing, and are not that it's like exclusionary, but they're kind of isolated.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I want to let you kind of talk to that a little bit and give some insight, because, this is a podcast. I mean, I don't put the video up on Instagram of, the hour and a half long podcast or anything, but I'm just curious what your perspective is on that.
I mean, like I said earlier, I only have well, that's a lie. I have Instagram and TikTok, but Instagram is my primary source of social networking via, my personal page and my whiskey page. But I go into it with a one-track mind of anymore. I very rarely will go through. I mean, like I used to go to Breaking Bourbon all the time and like all these web pages and read reviews. But I mean, with Instagram, and most people giving like quick tidbit information out there, and they're like, hey, here's what we thought for a more extended version. Check out our website. Why do I need to do that? You just told me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
Right here. And it's become one of those things where that's how I want to do. Like, someone's like, why don't you make a web page? I don't need to make a web page. I mean, that's not time that I want to invest into it. I tried a YouTube page. It didn't work out. It is very just, I've made this group of friends on there. I mean, obviously I guess I met you through Swan, but still, like, a majority of everyone that I know in the bourbon community have been from Instagram. I mean, there's been people that I've never met in person, or I wouldn't have met in person if it wouldn't have been from Instagram. Like, I got friends from Virginia and Washington and all these places who travel to Kentucky, and then I just coincidentally enough, like they know me as My Daily Bourbon, and they'll come into my store, and then I'm like, wait, hold on. Is that you? Yeah, that is me. And otherwise, we wouldn't have met from that. But it is just a small, to me, it's the most honest and just caring community. Like, I know people will say like Facebook groups and stuff are that way. I mean, excuse my language, but I could give a shit less about like secondary Facebook groups and all these, buy, sell, trade and, all this other stuff. Instagram to me is just the most amount of genuine people. I've had my fair share of people who are not. I mean, and they'll call people out, they'll start trouble, and I'm literally there. It is a hobby of mine. It's fun. It's a passion to open bottles, review bottles, and I don't care if I get 5 likes or 500 likes on a photo or a video. The fact that someone has looked at it is awesome.
Yeah.
And I hear that from so many people because, I mean, there's very few people who can make a living off social media, let alone Instagram. I mean, you have nothing to gain from Instagram unless you get paid by brands.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that I've met through there, I mean, it's just like, I don't want to say a brotherhood, but almost a family. I mean, there's...
Sure.
And I think that the reason why most people, you may say it's secluded, is just because that is, I don't want to say the nicest community, but it is the most caretaking community. I mean, I threw up like, hey, I'm looking for bottle XYZ. And I'd have 10 people say like, hey, I've got it. And I mean, either trade or buy. I mean, everyone is just nice versus some of the stuff I hear off Facebook. Even Reddit's gotten to the point to where sometimes people will post a review, and I mean, Reddit is Reddit, but then you'll see people who just dog it, like, oh, your palate's garbage. I don't taste that at all. And it's all subjective. Whiskey is subjective. Alcohol is subjective. And no one says that kind of stuff on Instagram. And I mean, not saying like, hey, Instagram is for, hugs and kisses or anything. Sure. But I just think that it is the best community, and that's why I've stuck with it. And everyone's supportive. I mean, you guys have been supportive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone that I've encountered on there. And that's why I think a lot of people have just kind of stuck to that. I mean, look at how many people do like weekly shows on there now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's every day of the week I watch someone who's doing a live. I'm in like 4 or 5 groups on there of people who I wouldn't have met except for Instagram. I mean, how would I have known that you, Perry Ritter, would be, This Is My Bourbon podcast had I not met like Swan and then followed you guys. And what's crazy is I had listened to you guys and then never put that together once I met Sean.
You didn't even hear it like in his voice or anything?
No,
That's funny.
He was telling me about samples and I'm like, dude, how did you get that? And then he sent me a link to your podcast and I'm like, I'm subscribed. Like,
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm
like
aware.
that makes sense now. But like that, I know it's a long drawn out and may not have answered anything on there, but it is just the most caring community to me. And I think that for a lot of others, they feel that way. Because, I mean, you could always hop on Facebook or Twitter. I don't even know what you could do on Twitter these days, or Reddit. But to me, Instagram, I mean, it is just the most safe and direct form of a community.
Yeah, I think that Instagram has the immediacy that a lot of other social platforms don't have. So I totally get that. And by no means am I trying to advocate for one over the other. I mean, it was just, I was purely curious as to what you experienced with that.
Yeah. And I mean, what's crazy is I mean, what other platform can you get on and post a 10-minute video of your opinion? And it can be,
I mean, YouTube, but
I've already talked about my experience with YouTube.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I can get on Instagram, post a 10-minute video of whether I liked something or didn't like it. And then, like, in certain cases, brands will reach out to me and be like, hey, we're sorry that you thought this sucked. What can we do better? And that's awesome because on YouTube, I don't know. I mean, I don't know because I don't have extensive experience in YouTube. But how many people can say, like, from a YouTube page or even Reddit, like, hey, so we saw your comment. What do you think? Versus Instagram, which, I mean, it is free marketing. Like, anytime I post a bottle for a brand, free marketing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's why brands and companies and distilleries have taken to it so well.
Well, and I'll be very honest, too. I mean, I owe a lot of the early success of the podcast to Instagram because, that was how I got the word out about new episodes. And, I used to do my weekly live on Instagram and, I would double up so that I had multiple platforms that I was doing it with. But I mean, there are still people who, I guess made friends with. Oh, it's okay, Marie. That we're just talking about whiskey. That I became friends with through Instagram, and now they listen to the podcast, and there are other ways that we've kind of maintained that relationship. But I totally get it. I mean, I think that with the ability to, without really any precedence, go live. You don't have to do anything to make posts other than, maybe scroll through a couple of filters and, just add some hashtags and throw it up. And, it's just very accessible, and it's very, it's just a very immediate way to, produce content.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, like, I'll even do it from work some days. Like, we'll get in a barrel pick and I'm just like, quick, snap a photo, and I have,
that is true. I've seen that before.
My notepad, I have my hashtag saved, and I'll just copy paste, boom, posted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just quick to do that, and it's fun and engaging because sometimes I feel like if I don't do that and like I buy something or it's a pick that I know is good, how are people going to know it's good if I don't post it?
Right.
And I mean, thousands of other people, hundreds of thousands of other people on Instagram in the whiskey community feel the same way. So I think it's just short of, here's a bourbon hunting Facebook group where you post Blanton's and everyone rushes to their store with their uncle and cousin, Instagram is the best way to kind of showcase your honesty.
Absolutely. And I just figured, go ahead and move on to something else to drink.
Yeah.
So how about that Nashville single barrel that you pulled up?
Yeah, this is the Kentucky pick number 1. So I think they...
Is this the one with the Kentucky Spirit logo on it?
Absolutely is. Yeah.
Had it at the old Bourbon County kitchen.
We had 4 bottles of this, and I conned my store manager into being like, hey man, let me buy one of those.
Dude, this stuff is so good though.
It is.
I haven't had it in it's been over a month.
Had I known you'd had this one, I would have brought. I have one of the 2 Total Wine picks.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm just happy to have it again.
But oh my god, it's so good. It is so good. I mean, 8-year-old MGP rye, 95.5. Come on.
You know what's funny is I am very much that person who started out, just kind of low rye products and, just easing my way into bourbon. And then, getting into rye, it was like, oh, I like this stuff. Fine. There wasn't anything about it that really, enticed me. And the first 95.5 rye I had, I think, was New Riff. And I just fell in love with that mash bill. I think 95.5 ryes are where it's absolutely at.
Oh, me too. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of Kentucky style ryes that I like, but when you get a good 95.5,
MGP is the king. I think of the 95.5s. And boy, if that isn't proven on the nose. That was adorable, by the way.
Your cat is awesome.
That's Knox. She's our older of the 2 cats, but she is a sweetheart.
She absolutely is.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the nose is fantastic, and the palate is phenomenal.
I think what I love the most about 95.5 ryes is that they're not over. There is kind, that minty quality, of course, can be a little harsh when it comes to rye whiskeys. And I think with 95.5, it just gets really rounded out and becomes a much more pleasing experience, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a lot easier, I feel like, to drink a 95.5 than it is a low rye in some ways.
So my biggest thing with 95.5 is the mouthfeel. I mean...
Oh, absolutely.
There's very few actual 100% rye whiskeys out there. I mean, there's so many whiskeys who use 100% rye whiskey.
Yeah. I don't know if I've had one, to be honest.
You've had Braddock Oak. That is legitimate.
Have I?
Yeah, from Catoctin Creek.
Oh yeah, yes, I have.
That one's super oily, very viscous and rich. And that's why I love 95.5 ryes. I love that thick, syrupy, almost mouthfeel.
We'll finish this up, and we'll move on to our little 15-year bourbon comparisons. But I want to give you the chance to I guess give your elevator pitch about My Daily Bourbon and let people know. You've already done a good job, I think, of explaining to people what makes Instagram so viable and such a strong community, of course, but just allowing people the chance to kind of hear from you about your content and why they should go and check you out.
Do you want me to do the sideways wave? Everyone makes fun of me because I always go like this.
I guess you do that.
Yeah,
I've never really thought about it before, but
I never noticed it until a group I'm in. Whenever every time we would start a conversation, the group was you would say, "Hey, such and such," and to make sure that you're communicating to that person. And someone said, "Hey, Chad," and they did a wave, and I'm like, I waved back, and they're like, "No, that's your sideways wave," and I'm like, "I don't sideways wave." So. I'm just chopping the air. But elevator pitch on My Daily Bourbon. Hey guys, Chad here with My Daily Bourbon. I guess my page is just honest reviews. There you go. But no, seriously.
Well, there you go.
I started it as a hobby. My personal page was littered with whiskey, and my girlfriend would give me crap about it. Some friends and family give me crap about it. A buddy of mine named David was like, why don't you start a whiskey page? And I I literally said to him, we don't have time for such great ideas. And thus My Daily Bourbon was born. My intention was to do daily reviews, posts, and that became too much. So now I try and at least post as often as possible and do a couple reviews a week. But my goal is to just give my unfiltered, just 100% opinion. I don't care if it's free, if it's sent to me by a brand, whether I pay for it or if I, whatever. It is my opinion. That's a silica pack.
Why?
You don't want the box to get moist. But I just, everything that I post is 100% me. Sometimes people are like, oh, you're saying you like this because they sent it to you. I know that sometimes I don't even post things because I don't want people to think that. Yeah. But if I like it, I like it. I post more of what I like than I dislike for good reason. I don't want to waste your time reading a review about something I dislike unless it's Basil Hayden, and then I'll do everything I can to post about how much I hate Basil Hayden. But I just want people to see what I think, and I think it's awesome that people react to that. So, and that's kind of what my page has grown out of, is just my opinion, and I really don't care what you think of something. I'll tell you what I think, and then I'll ask you what you think about what I thought, and converse from there.
Real boomer energy for your page, apparently.
Yeah, man. I mean,
just kidding.
My target audience is like 18 to 40. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of what we are with the podcast as well.
It's weird how many like 18 to 25 year olds I have, and then you go to like 26 through 40.
Do you want to rethink that initial statement?
Well, and then you go to like 26 through 40, and it's like 3% more, and I'm like, huh, that's a weird target audience.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. You are allowing me to open this bottle. I'm still not entirely sure why you've given me such an opportunity. But
because I will be able to open it every day at home. You will not.
Oh, you just wanted me to do it for... You wanted me to get the hard work out of the way.
Yes.
First and foremost.
I hate foil.
I love those little cuts that you get under your fingernails from foil. So
flattering and pleasing.
I'm just happy that you gave me that opportunity.
Can we just talk about the bottle?
First of all, do you want to film any of this for your Instagram?
No, you do. We'll do this for this. I'm keeping MDB out. I will do a review later.
That's fine. The bottle is freaking gorgeous. I will say. So there is I wouldn't say a movement, but there is definitely an exodus of printed on bottle labels or text. And I think that these higher end bottles definitely are the ones that are maintaining some of that. And I think that the embossed logo is so nice and really complements just everything with the label.
I mean, because it is just your typical wine bottle, and then the fact that where they etched it in and it's embossed, and the styling, it is so clean.
It almost looks like a stag, but well, I guess a BTAC bottle. Is it legitimately just a BTAC bottle?
Yeah, that's your Eagle Rare, your BTAC.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Your $5 wine bottles. And a quick thing. So this comes from Gulf Coast Distillers. So for those of you in Texas who know the Prideful Goat, that was only available in Texas. Everyone outside of Texas, you have Hickory Hill 15-year. So this is the Prideful Goat. Probably not the same batch, but it is from the same distillery.
Yeah, this is batch 785. I mean, what are they doing? Putting out like blending batches per day?
No, I mean they probably were like, there are 784 batches that just sucked. Maybe.
I hope it's something like that, or at the very least, the 785 means something else other than the literal 785.
Well, I mean, this is bottle 1574, so I mean,
But where are they getting all of that whiskey from? If it's 15, I mean, they don't just 15-year-old whiskey isn't just sitting around.
I mean, this had to be part of that giant tote drop last year.
I think it definitely had to be. Yeah.
Well, the tote drop, I mean, wasn't necessarily last year, but all the brands came out last year. I also just realized there's text on the side.
Ooh, there is.
Yeah.
I can't. What's this?
It just says Kentucky unfiltered cask strength bourbon whiskey.
Yes. So I didn't have anything to say about that. So we also wanted to compare this to the 3-chord whiskey drummer.
Yes.
As well. You can get, I mean, if you want to grab it, feel free to. I mean,
Don't tell me what to do, Perry. I do what I want.
I'm aware. So here we go. I'm going to uncork the Hickory Hill here. Weak little pop.
Oh, that's kind of lackluster.
Weak little sad
I'm
boy.
I'm going to pop the 3-chord. Yeah.
That was much better. Dang it. You definitely got
Now that's a cork pop.
That's a cork pop. Hey, we had to cut out a bunch of stuff. Sorry. And we're back. Yeah. So the 3-chord is 117.9 proof. Again,
and that is unfiltered, right? Or is that chill filtered?
I'm pretty sure that it's unfiltered.
So the Hickory Hill is 115 proof, unfiltered, and cask strength. So 2 proof point difference.
Nowhere on the bottle does it say non-chill filtered or non-filtered, I guess. Oh wait, nope. Yes, it does. Unfiltered.
Sweet.
Unfiltered, uncut, and undeniably delicious.
I can agree to all 3 of those now.
2 of them are facts, 1 of them is opinion, and I will agree with that.
Yeah, that's a good opinion to have.
Yeah.
We starting with 3-chord?
I started with the 3-chord, yeah. I wanted to give the Hickory Hill a little bit of time to open since the 3-chord has been open for quite a while. Not quite a while. Long enough, I guess.
Yeah, this is...
I love this whiskey so much, man. I, of course, rarely have it because it's expensive, and I mean, you know, it was sent to me by 3-chord as well, and
this just became an X-rated episode, so
X-rated for mouth noises, pleasure noises, and occasional drug use.
The nose on this, man,
it's so deep and rich and just full of character. I think that's what I loved so much about those weird 15-year batches that just popped out of nowhere last year, is that they did have a lot of character.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like Chicken Cock sent me their 15-year, and while it was $300, and I'm like, no, I won't pay $300 for this, it was amazing whiskey.
Crap, I never did review that. Chicken Cock, I am so sorry. I am just now... See, this is why I needed either the YouTube page or like a blog or something so I could review things.
We got ours the same day.
That's right, we did.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
I was going to give you guys some, and then Sean sent me a picture, and you're like, oh, hey.
Yeah, got this today.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it. Have you? I've never seen a bottle in person.
I think I might have seen one at Bardstown Bourbon Company. Maybe.
Well, I'm talking like on a shelf in retail space.
No, I'm talking like in the Bardstown Bourbon Company gift shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I might have.
Like
the red label.
Yeah, I don't think we had it at work. I don't know if Liquor Barn got it.
You know what? Swan. I think you called him Sean a second ago. It's fine.
Swan. Sorry.
We're breaking the fourth wall. But but I'm pretty sure that he texted me and said that they did get a bottle, but it sold really quickly.
I can believe it.
That happens with a lot of allocated bottles, it feels like.
Yeah, when we got Dry State in, it didn't even go to the shelf. Someone said, hey, do you have Dry State? And he went to the back and grabbed it and sold
I still cannot believe that.
Yeah. However, I still got that $3,500 Macallan if anyone wants it.
Can we try it in store before we buy it?
No.
I just want to let everybody know I didn't edit that pause in between the mouth noise and the no. So That all happened in real time.
My God.
This is spectacular,
That
dude.
is so good.
Oh my gosh. I will say, and we all kind of postulated last year about where this 15-year product was coming from, excuse me. And everybody kind of said it's more than likely Beam.
Yeah.
But I think that's more reminiscent of the Rhetoric 24 year than it is a Beam product.
I will agree. And everyone goes on to the mash bill. So there were a few places who like the mash bill is like 18.5, which is like
Just their high rye.
Yeah, like an 18.5 rye content and like just an odd number. It was almost Barton's mash bill, but not quite. And people are like, "Oh, it's Barton."
This is not Barton juice.
No, there's no way at all this is Barton juice.
No chance.
But yeah, this is so close to that Rhetoric 24 year. I mean, if it is Jim Beam, awesome. It's really good Jim Beam. But I mean, my money is betting that it's just younger Rhetoric.
I think so too, man. And it's so similar to the point where if you put both of them down in front of me, I don't know if I'd be able to tell the difference. I am being very honest. And I think that it's, that the proof change and the age change where they kind of weigh each other out or outweigh each other. That was a weird way to say outweigh each other. Or they even each other out. What did I do? What did I do? Is it my microphone flipping around like it's a fish out of water? Yeah. I'm a professional. I've been doing this for 3.5 years. Anyway. But I just think that it's almost unmistakably older Heaven Hill juice.
It tastes so much like the Rhetoric that the only difference is the proof point. I mean, like, flavor-wise, it is
absolutely.
It's much more pronounced everything that the Rhetoric has.
You heard it here first. We're calling it out.
Yeah, we're...
Whiskey Drummer, you've been exposed. Anyway. Hickory Hill 15, though.
All right, I've not even nosed it. I've swirled it.
This was my first swirl. I have no experience with this. It's a fresh crack.
Brand new bottle.
115 proof? Oh,
115 proof, $155.
Okay. All right. I'm nervous.
Let's dive in.
Okay. It's pretty similar, dude. I mean, truth be told, they're not dissimilar at all.
No, not at all.
I think the only difference is that the Whiskey Drummer
is 2 proof points higher.
Well, yeah, and I think that it's just it's been open for quite a while longer.
Oops.
Did your eyes just roll back in your head? Did I see that for a second? Did we lose you?
No, I accidentally cheersed myself and then laughed.
Yeah, but right before that, I thought I saw you just pass out for a hot second.
No, I was kind of embarrassed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, these are, man.
It's the same distillery. It's the same
it is
product.
God, the nose is so good on both of these.
I know. And again, I think that the Hickory Hill clearly has water added to it.
Yeah, it is cask strength, but it's not uncut. So cask strength is what did he go in the barrel? 115 proof.
Yeah.
What cask strength is such a wide open term that I think it has had water added to it.
I mean, it definitely smells like it. We haven't gotten to the palate yet.
No,
but I mean, it's got just kind of a proofed down note.
It's a little more subdued.
Yeah,
even though it's
absolutely.
2 proof points lower, it noses about 10 proof points lower.
But it is. I'm calling it. It is 100% the same distillery as Whiskey Drummer.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers, man.
Cheers again. Whoa. It's more viscous than the 3-chord.
Yeah. It drinks a lot hotter. That Kentucky Hug.
It hit me in the Kentucky Hug really quickly.
Ooh.
Almost to the point of heartburn.
That's what I was thinking. But
it's
I'm
lower.
not mad at it.
I'm not either. I think that I think that I like Whiskey Drummer just as a whole a little bit better. But I wouldn't be upset with this, especially at a lower price.
It's $70 cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have any qualms with that. You're looking at the color at the moment. I think the color's a little bit deeper too than
It is, and
just weird.
I was looking at the legs on the glass, and it is. Let me see here. Yeah, the color is way deeper. Why do I keep doing that? I feel like it has quite a bit more oil to it, but
It absolutely does, yeah. Oh, the Whiskey Drummer barely hangs on the side of the glass.
yeah. Whereas the Hickory Hill, like the streaks on this is gonna sound terrible, but it has stretch marks.
It does have stretch marks. It's weird. I went back to the nose and I got like a grain note, which is strange for a 15-year-old product.
I'm not getting that, but I got a really heavy chocolate note the second time.
I will say it drinks every bit of 15 years.
I'm really trying to dive into the nose. They're both so similar on the nose. The Hickory Hill is slightly lighter, but not by much. But the palate, I mean,
I will say, I think I'm missing, and I get a lot of this from LE products and really some of these older, like 15-year-old products as well. I am missing the toasted marshmallow note that I get on the Whiskey Drummer and that I get on things like Kentucky Owl and, like Old Carter as well. It has that in droves.
yeah, the 100% that marshmallow note on the drummer. Amazing.
It's one of my favorite notes on whiskey.
Yeah,
Truth
I mean,
be told.
it mine too. And like, it is so like, the nose is fluffy. Like you can smell that marshmallow like it is fresh. It is
The
peeps on
nose is
Easter.
fluffy.
Yeah, but you don't quite get that on the. That's what I'm saying. Like the nose on the Hickory Hill is like 10 points lighter. Like you would think it is like about 100, 110
Yeah.
on the nose.
It's really fruity.
It is.
It's almost like a
Yeah.
cantaloupe note.
Yes. There is a melon. There is a melon note in there.
I can pull them out every once in a while, y'all. Which and I'm not a big cantaloupe fan.
No, I hate
at
melons.
all. I really do too, actually.
But no, I get that. Like you said, I don't know if it's the suggestiveness, but
I mean,
like,
I've been fighting with it for a while, trying to figure out what it is, and
it's like fresh. Like there is like a note in there that's very bright and doesn't kind of belong, versus the Whiskey Drummer, which is like, hey, we're all good here.
it's the harmoniousness
Yeah.
of the Whiskey Drummer really shows. I think it's the care that's put into the craft more than anything.
Oh yeah.
Again, I am not mad at Hickory Hill. I
no.
just prefer the Whiskey Drummer
No, and
ever
I mean,
so slightly more.
If you do not want to spend that, I mean, for me, there is a $70 price difference in where I work. Totally, Hickory Hill 15 cask strength. But if you've got that money to spend, Whiskey Drummer.
Yeah.
I would rate Whiskey Drummer as one of my top all-time whiskeys of the year if I had a bottle.
Sorry, buddy.
Once I see a 2 at the beginning of a price, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I think that the Hickory Hill definitely is more approachable as far as price, but I want to drink the Whiskey Drummer all day.
The Whiskey Drummer is the better. So I'll say this. So these are all most likely part of that tote thing that happened.
Yeah.
Those totes hold what, 5 barrels?
Sure.
Yeah, they hold barrels. Obviously, Whiskey Drummer, I'm sure they didn't get to choose what totes they got, but the combination of totes that they used for Whiskey Drummer, are superior to the ones that Gulf Coast got for Hickory Hill.
Can you actually expand on that just a little bit? Because I don't think that we've ever talked about this tote thing on the podcast before.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever really heard anybody else discuss what happened with these products.
Yeah, so these were all part of a undisclosed distillery source where they had, I mean, like literally thousands of 15-year-old, at least 15-year-old bourbon in these totes. These totes are their plastic containers that hold several barrels worth of whiskey. And they were all 15 years old. So some speculation because of the recipe was, it's Beam, but it was for a custom project or a new brand that didn't take off or they couldn't get funding for, or it was Heaven Hill and the same thing. Whatever happened, it did not pan out. So there were just tons of 15-year-old totes lying around. I mean, you've seen these from things like, Chicken Cock and 3-Chord Whiskey Drummer, Hickory Hill 15, Old Soul 15-year, Doc Swinson 15-year. Mm-hmm. I mean, so many of these brands, all of a sudden they just had 15-year-old Kentucky bourbon whiskey. And people were like, oh no, it's 15-year-old Jim Beam. I'm not paying $100, $200, $300 for that product.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh, it's Heaven Hill. I'll pay $300, $400 for that product. Whatever the source is, it is a mash bill that is not normal to them usually.
Yeah.
So I mean, you take into account Heaven Hill. I mean, they mostly do what is it, like a 10% rye mash bill for the most part. And then Jim Beam is what, like 13% rye or 12% rye. So it is, no matter who it came from, it is different. But these totes were, I want to say it's 5 barrels, total in a tote. And these brands just bought tons of them. They were put on the open market. They sold a couple years back. Everyone created a label for them, but there is no like really information on them. So you've got brands like 3-Chord, who created the Whiskey Drummer, Doc Swinson's, which, I mean, whatever batch that was, it won all kinds of awards. I mean, people were going crazy over it. I mean, it went for like $600 on secondary just to get it. But it's so unknown that no one really knows how to claim it. But at the same time, though, as you and I have been saying, it tastes so similar to that Rhetoric 24.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet it is Heaven Hill.
I would be as well, which I'm not normally that confident with the distillery or brand, but
no. So I've been saying Jim Beam, just because everyone on the interwebs,
I agree,
have said Jim Beam, and I'm like, oh, it must be the Beams.
Yeah, I don't think it's Beam.
Well, I wish I'd have brought the Knob Creek 15 year to compare, but after having the 3-Chord and the Rhetoric,
there's no way that this is not Heaven
Hill. I mean, cash strength, quote unquote, 15 year for $155, $220. Just old. I mean, this has been apparently in totes for like several years.
Yeah.
So it like just not being used. So who knows when this was actually distilled.
So I want you to go back to the Hickory Hill.
Yeah.
And smell it again, because it has opened up a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm getting something on it that I wasn't getting before. Do you remember those iced oatmeal cookies?
Yes. Like the... Yeah.
Is that what you were...
No. I was going to say, like... At first, I was going to say confectionery sugar, but...
But it's that general thing.
Get like a 30-pack from the IGA for $2. I don't even know if anyone knows what an IGA is anymore, but...
It's a thing of the past. Anyway. The more I have the Hickory Hill, though, the better it gets.
I do think it needs time to open up. I mean, how long has your Whiskey Drummer been open?
I was sent that in the last half of last year, after my interview with Neil Giraldo. So, I mean, October, November, something like that.
That note on the palate. Or like, not that note, but that punch.
There's no way it's not Heaven Hill.
I mean, like, it has to be Heaven Hill.
I even feel notes that remind me of the 27 year that they put out in 2019.
Yes.
It just with less oak.
Yeah, it's not as
hyper aged.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't think you can go wrong with either of these products. I prefer the Whiskey Drummer.
The Whiskey Drummer, I mean, whether or not that, you actually get to choose your totes or however that worked. I mean, because this is bottle 632 of 1080. And batch 1. And batch 1 versus Hickory Hill batch 785, bottle 1574. I mean,
whatever 785 means.
I have no idea. But, I mean, it is, I think in 4 months, this will open up to be a really good bourbon.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
We'll do a quarterly.
A follow-up?
Yeah.
Yeah. We could do it on My Daily Bourbon.
Yeah. We'll do
another crossover.
Yeah.
That's fine. Hey, anytime you need somebody to come and hang out, I'm totally down. I mean, not anytime. I have an infant.
I always need friends. So.
That is the bleakest thing that's been said on this podcast in a long time. I always need the comfort of another human being. Well, I think that does it for... It's not really a review. It's more of a comparison.
Yeah.
I would say. But I hope, Chad, that you brought to the table something for Tips and Bits.
Oh, so...
I'm going to let you finish. But it's... Tips and Bits is the segment of the show where we recommend things to people. It doesn't have to be bourbon related, of course. It can be. But, watching something, reading something, listening to something, sending something via carrier pigeon.
Yeah, so I love documentaries. Netflix is great for documentaries. This is a Robbery, the world's biggest art heist on Netflix.
Ooh.
That is a really good one. So it's about a museum that gets robbed. Just the synopsis is a museum guard buzzes in 2 men dressed as cops who vanish 81 minutes later with priceless Rembrandt and a dozen other works of art.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so millions of dollars in art disappear, but it took 81 minutes. So they robbed the place and essentially were just like, we don't care that the cops could show up at any time.
Holy crap. So
the whole mystery of the thing is it an inside job or did they just know better kind of thing? Really good. I really enjoyed that. I binged that all in one day on my day off. It was a solid 5 hours of just eating Cheetos and watching that documentary.
Perfect. What are we talking, like
Costco family size bag?
Perfect.
Which Costco family size bag versus the Walmart family size bag? Totally different.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
One feeds one feeds one.
That makes perfect sense. So I've recently gotten into, and I think some of this is going to be reflected in some of the content that I put on YouTube, but I have been watching more like YouTube commentary videos.
Yeah.
Recently, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It was kind of a rabbit hole that I fell down with. It started at like a couple of guys, and then anyway. But there's this trio of guys who all kind of do the same basic commentary content, but they're all comedians essentially. Drew Gooden, Danny Gonzalez, and Curtis Connor. I really enjoy their content.
Yeah.
I mean, like I get to the point where I like just binge through their channel in a few days, and I don't ever intend to, but it's like, I'll watch another video. while I'm working. I'll watch another video. That's fine. Oh, this one's about Jake Paul. Okay, I'll move on to this one. Oh, it's just kind of like it's almost mindless, but at the same time, it's so entertaining that I just have fallen down into that hole. And I do want to do. I've talked about this with the YouTube page, but I do want to do some commentary stuff as well. And part of that is like I was saying earlier, the examination of Bourbon TikTok.
Yeah.
Just talking about those videos and what they're like and, how it. Yeah. And it's not trying to call anybody out. Like Bourbon Pursuit has a huge following on TikTok. And I don't by any means want to
well, no,
knock that effort or that grind. But I want to talk about, why that platform has become so important to the bourbon boom and the growth of the bourbon community at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, get in on this." I myself don't get it, and I think that is something that like you could easily do 2, 3, 4, 5 in-depth videos on just the style of those posts alone.
I mean, absolutely.
Of those Post Malone. Yeah.
Oh, actually, that brought up in my brain another tips and bits, I guess. Did you ever watch those videos of Post Malone covering country songs?
Yes.
Those are killer.
Holy crap, dude. I'm still waiting for him to release like a country rock album. Like,
oh, he would destroy it. It would be amazing.
I mean, there's so many videos. There's like probably 20, but there's several videos of him on YouTube just covering like country and grunge and like 90s rock.
Yeah, he did like a whole Nirvana tribute show, didn't he?
He like his entire encore was like 5 Nirvana songs, and he killed it. So good.
But that cover that he did of Sturgill Simpson's "You Can Have the Crown."
Yes. Oh my god.
Holy crap! It like at first I was like, this is gonna be good.
I wasn't
expecting
how
it to
feel
be
about Post Malone. You may not like his pop rap, whatever.
End of sentence. I don't care how you feel about Post Malone.
Exactly. That's it.
You just don't care.
Don't care. His country rock stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And also, I've posted about this guy a few times. I'm gonna throw something else in there. Alex Melton. Alex Melton has a YouTube page, and he just does he's got some really great original music.
Okay.
He did an entire Post Malone cover album called PBRs and Tellies. Yeah. He's got several great cover. I don't want to say like EPs, but he's got one called Humble where he covers a couple things from Kendrick Lamar.
Wow.
He does like Punk Goes Country. He'll do like Blink-182 songs.
Oh, snap. That's awesome.
All Time Low as country versions. But Alex Melton on YouTube, fantastic.
I know that name.
He has a really, really, really good cover of about every song every cover he does is amazing. But the song that I caught him on was if Blink-182 wrote "Don't Stop Believin'," and just his version of Mark.
Oh, yeah, snap! Yeah. I gotta watch that.
His vocals of Mark versus Tom DeLonge, perfect. And it from that point I went through a just like 2 hour and I watched every video he had binge. And Alex Melton, 100% just great YouTube content and great artist.
Great.
All around.
Well, now I have something that's going to wreck my life for the next week. So
yeah.
Well, I think that does it for Tips and Bits, and I think that does it for another episode of This Is My Bourbon podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Chad, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate it so much. We've already kind of talked about it, but where can people find you on social media?
Instagram and TikTok at mydailybourbon. And that is it. Just My Daily Bourbon, and you will find me. If there is a Twitter or Facebook page of My Daily Bourbon, it is not me. I do not condone those two places because I don't have an account on them.
Has that actually happened to you in the past? Like they use your logo?
I had two pages on Instagram where they did, it was like how they do like mine. It was like 2 Ys kind of deal, or like My Daily Bourbon, and they'll do dots.
Yeah.
And they just were taking some of my stuff and then other people's stuff. But I got those removed, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, Instagram, I blocked them, but Instagram's like, hey, we removed it. Thumbs up. And I'm not sure if they really did, but
thanks, guys.
Yeah. So at least 2 people have tried to copy my page, and I think I got them taken down. I'm not sure.
So it's just at My Daily Bourbon.
Correct.
Perfect. Well, if you want to follow me personally, I am at PRitter1492 on all social media channels. If you want to follow the show itself, it's at My Bourbon Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can leave us a 5-star rating and review on the iTunes podcast app, or anywhere that you listen to the podcast that allows such a thing to happen. Recently discovered that Audible allows for people to leave reviews of podcasts. Had no idea until I was kind of poking around, and then found out that we had a beautiful 2-star review on Audible from Todd C, whose title was not impressive. He said, I'm a newbie to whiskey and listen to very few podcasts. This was the first whiskey-related podcast I attempted. Struggled to get through one first episode. Oh, he listened to the first episode, and he struggled with it. Well, that's a shame because we've definitely improved since the first episode. It's that unstructured, unorganized, poor information, silly, and amateur. Sorry about that, Todd, but following up from there...
He should not listen to this episode.
I thought this was a great episode.
Well, no, not for Todd.
Not for Todd, but that's okay. But more recently, some folks have gone in and helped out our rating on Audible. Scotty P says, great podcast, 5 stars. Says, Perry is very knowledgeable about bourbon, also very easy to listen to if you like bourbon. This is your podcast. Thank you, Scotty P, which is Scott Pigsley, I believe, on social media, who is awesome. Also, thank you for your honesty, Todd C. Also, why 2 stars instead of 1?
Yeah, I mean,
it's the question on all of our lips.
If you're going for it, man, go all in.
Just go for it.
I mean, 2 stars is like, now it's what did you like about it?
Versus you like that it existed?
Yeah, versus 1 star, like it's the lowest you can give.
Anyway, you can find all of our apparel and merchandise at bourbonshop.threadless.com, which includes, and I can't believe we didn't talk about this before now, skateboards, which the one person who has bought a skateboard, a Tim Bip skateboard,
that was me,
is sitting in the room with me.
That is me, and I have put several hours.
At least it's getting use, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, my days off, it always rains, but the several hours I've had on it have been swell. So if you want to skateboard or have ambitions of skateboarding or just need nice wall art, the skateboard comes from CCS, who I've used several years in the past when I skateboarded in high school. Great quality deck, really good trucks. Might want to change the bearings out, but other than that, great value. Thank you so much, Perry and Swan.
I'm gonna use that as a soundbite to try to sell more skateboards.
Yeah, no,
because I literally have no experience with skateboards.
As someone who's not skateboarded in several years, but did all throughout high school and college, and until I moved to Lexington 6 years ago. I mean, CCS is like a great brand. They do awesome stuff, and there's nothing about it that I have complaints about besides the bearings, which I'm fine with because bearings are cheap and easy to replace.
Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't really register with me, but I'll have to do some research so that I can...
It doesn't affect you guys at all. So, I mean...
All right, cool. Yeah. Anyway, go buy a skateboard. It's cool. Anyway. Check out the YouTube page as well. It's youtube.com/thisismybourbonpodcast. Videos go up there. At this point, it's going to be about every other week, I believe, or at least twice a month. Produced content is going to be over there. It's been a lot of fun, at least, with the one video that's out right now.
Woo.
But yeah, subscribe, please. On the road to 1,000. And last but not least, Patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. For as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. For as little as $5 a month, you get bonus content, which includes all of the last call stuff, the pregame chats. I'm just kind of talking as I'm trying to pull up our most recent patron. And early access to YouTube videos as well. And we definitely want to give a special shout out to our most recent Patreon member. That's Lauren Wong at $5 a month. So she is getting all of that
going all in
special content. So thank you, Lauren, and thanks everybody, as I learn the English language after having spoken it for almost 28 years. Thanks everybody who supports the show over on Patreon. That does it for this week. Next week, I got no freaking clue. This is coming out while I am on a trip, so we're gonna find out together what next week's gonna look like. Chad, once again, thank you so much for hanging out.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was awesome.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't always get that kind of immediate feedback. Anyway, we'll see you all next week. But until then, I'm Perry, and this is My Bourbon Podcast.